Good evening. Today we're here for some new age ball rog parenting tips because he's the professional on parenting. Let's get it.
You start rogging when you're young, you end rogging when you're older. That's another thing why I think black parents, why a lot of us are rogging and doing dumb shit and, exerting violence when we're younger is because we were beat while we were children.
No, actually, the situation is due to not having both parents in the household, which you've also discussed, and being rogtastic will contribute to having no home structure, right? Now, you're saying beatings and beatings and whoopings are not the same. A whooping is not the equivalent of a beating. A beating is just you just going rampage on your kid. A whooping is disciplinary action to show that kid that they cannot just get away with doing whatever they want. It's better to get whooped at home versus going out there and getting whooped by somebody else. Because trust, they're not going to do it out of love. Lastly, whooping is typically not the first thing you go to. Usually it's conversation and trying to fix it without the whooping. And once they just keep disrespecting boundaries, you have no choice.
We got quote unquote spankings. So we resort to violence quicker as well. We get angry faster.
No, you resort to violence quicker due to your socioeconomic status and where you're growing up. Like I literally saw somebody going to a store getting ready to fight because somebody called them a chicken nugget. Like, really, bro? Really?
Because if you're beat in the home, aka discipline, you know what I'm saying? That does something to a child. I would never put my hands on my future seeds. Talked about this shit before.
Oh, yeah. The same man who says daughters are basically useless and another one that says he wants a son but conducts himself very irresponsibly on the internet. Yeah, buddy, you'd be the greatest parent of the year.
I'm the parent. It's my job to mentally get through to you without beating my creation. I'm a inside woman. Help create something, then beat on you because I couldn't figure out how to properly parent you.
Oh, great. Now we have a parenthood fresh and fit. It's always amazing to me how people always commentate on things they have no experience with, especially like relationships. People comment on relationships, don't have a relationship. People comment on marriage, are married. People comment on having children, don't have any kids, and they're almost in their 40s. That's wild, bro. Wild.
Correctly the last resort, I put my hands on you. Oh, violence is for strangers, not for your children.
And again, spanking your child is not the equivalent of violence. Now, throwing remotes and hitting them with extension cords and anything you can find, yes, that is abuse. Yes, that is beating. Now, going ahead, catching that butt with some pop-pops because they're acting a fool, that is not abuse. And yes, you do have to because they will test boundaries because they'll see what they can get away with. And if there's no ramifications, they will proceed to do it. And look you in your eye and do it anyway, especially boys, the ones that you keep claiming you want to have.
I don't believe in beating kids. I don't believe in disciplining kids through force. I just don't believe it. Of course, I got my ass whooped as a kid, but it didn't do anything to make me better as a person. It was unnecessary. My child will never tell me to f off.
Yeah. Whatever, new age ball rog. You're the equivalent of a backseat driver. And I'm going to tell you something. Your kids will be a whole lot worse because it's like, oh, man, you just got to stop. And I just got to explain to get through to the cognitive. And I can explain, dude. It doesn't matter how many times you explain to a kid or try to teach them or try to show them. Some kids don't ever have to be whooped. Like some of them, you might have to whoop your kid maybe 3 or 4 times in 9 years, 10 years. But see, when you have the dominant boy, here's the thing. You keep talking about all of this specimen this, specimen that, and dominant this, dominant that. And you're talking about you're wanting to have a dominant child. You do not have the slightest idea what comes with having a dominant, like a real boy, a real dominant child. See, men, we establish dominance through dominating, right? It's to show power dynamics. Even now, even men, why do you think men don't really go into fight conversation like that? Is because as men, we understand the violence dynamics and ramifications of interactions and acting a fool. Why do you think men don't typically engage in violent interaction so freely and quickly? Because why? Because you will get that ass whooped. Or you can lose your life. So that's why that's what we understand. That's why men are the more peaceful species because violence is understood amongst us, right? And I'm here to tell you, buddy, I'm here to tell you, if you don't hold your child accountable, when they start to, you undermine and you think that kids ain't gangster. Kids have no fear. Okay. Not only do they have no fear, right? They have the immortal complex. And if you're wondering what that is, that's basically to say that I ain't really worried about death because I'm young. Time doesn't concern me. Ramifications don't concern me because you ain't gonna tell me what I ain't gonna do. That's what kids got in their mind until they get checked. And then the world holds them accountable. See, the son that you're going to wind up raising is going to be a failure. And I'm going to tell you why. Because of your mindset. You should not be this old and be this dense and lack this much wisdom. You feel as if you know so much, but yet you know so little. This is just real talk. Like, I'm not even trolling you right now because you're talking about real conversations in dealing with children, right? And hopefully nobody from your chat listens to you because you're inexperienced in this that you're commenting on. You can comment on all that other stuff with genetics and that silly stuff. You're the theology and theories and theoreticals, whatever, bro. You can think whatever you want with that. That's cool. But see, when it comes to being a parent, that's real life conversation. And I'm going to tell you, you're wrong. You're 100% wrong. Every kid is different. Every kid every kid doesn't require getting whooped. Some kids just listen. But see, when you have the ones that got that dog in them, you have to whoop them because they will literally do something. Look you in your eye before they do it and do it anyway. And when they set that boundary and that line, they're basically telling you without telling you, F you, I'm going to do what I want. What you going to do about it?
I would never tell you no. I would have you in all types of activities. I'm going to teach you everything. You're going to have a wonderful childhood. You're definitely going to have a childhood that's dealt with a lot of proper dexterity, but you're going to have a wonderful childhood. And I'm never going to tell you no. I'm going to teach you values, teach you shit early. I'm all the mistakes that was made me growing up. I'll make sure that it never instills into my future seeds.
Dude, there's no way in real life you can be this ignorant. That's literally to the T what celebrities do with raising their kids. Look at celebrities' kids. Look at matter of fact, we'll just use the City Girls, for example. And let's look at Cardi B. She says, I'm going to go out here and do this, but I don't want my kid to be like this. I'm like, dude, you're literally selling a culture of behavior. And then you're like, well, I'm going to raise my kid different and give him everything. No, your daughter is going to look at you and what you did. And she's going to say, you can't tell me nothing because of what you did growing up, as well as T.I.'s son. You think T.I.'s son didn't have everything? You think T.I.'s son wasn't whooped all the time and all that? No, he wasn't. Matter of fact, I think he had a pacifier till he was 8 years old or something, or 7, something crazy. Don't quote me on that. I know they were like clowning him because he started wanting to act gangster now, even though T.I. didn't raise him like that and raised him in a nice gated neighborhood, but he wanted to be on the quote unquote streets on the block, but he grew up in a gated community. No, dude, like you're wrong. Stop. Until you have kids on your own, be quiet because you don't know what you're talking about.
Like I said, most of us in this chat, well, probably all of us, probably were the type of kids where our parents just said, go to school, get good grades, you got free lunch. Voila, magic. Oh, yeah, and a lot of us got spankings for no reason. That's impossible. There would be no what if my kid don't listen. That's impossible.
Wow, this man really is that stupid. You know what's crazy is when your kid grows up and sees you on the internet and you talking about thangalangs and all this all the time, making very weird innuendo, and they go to school saying these exact same things and exhibiting your behavior, and you have to get on to them for it. It's going to be hilarious because they're going to be doing these things and they're going to be confused as to why you feel as if you can go online and act a complete ass, but they cannot. Yeah.
If my kid didn't listen, it's my fault.
Yes, that is true. And your kids will not listen to you.
If your kid don't listen, that's a you problem. Is it would be basically your fault as a full-fledged adult why you can't figure out how to properly parent your actual child that is yours. That's a you problem.
Bro, you can't even adapt to game mechanics and you think you good enough to parent a child? Wow, boy, wow.
That's what I'm saying. When you guys chat, when you go back to anybody in here that's ever gotten their ass beat, when you go back to think of you getting your ass beat as a kid, was it actually necessary?
Yes, it was, and it drew a very clear line in the sand of right and wrong. And when I chose to make a decision to do the wrong thing, I was accountable and understood. I did what I did, and it was wrong. So I could not blame my parent and say, oh, I didn't know any better because I knew an ass whooping was coming for what I did. Boy, stop.
Was there a real reason why you got your ass whooped? We all love our parents or parent, right? But was there a real reason to why we got our ass whooped? Because I stole a candy bar? Well, maybe if I was able to get that candy frequently, maybe I wouldn't have jacked that Snickers bar.
Like what? Typically on this channel, I try to stay as respectful as possible and not call people stupid and things like that. But that's like some of the dumbest stuff that I've heard today. I always hear dumb things on the internet, but today, particularly from you, that's one of the dumbest things I've heard today. Now, look, if you want to hear more of this, feel free to click the link below. I'm done here. If you rocked with me this long and you want to see more content that exceeds 10 minutes, feel free to leave the request below. I will do it, but if you stayed this long, appreciate you staying. In the meanwhile, I'm out. Have a good one.
Maybe if I was able to get those PlayStation games frequently or get those PlayStation games at all and didn't hear no 24/7, I wouldn't have stolen those games from Walmart.